Plea not guilty. Appointed attorney. Said attorney pre-trial for September 5th. We're going to be very busy that day. I've been very busy the last few First Fridays at 8:30. They have a video of this, I'm guessing. She stole a total of 8 items worth $80.30. So I can't tell what this is. We'll get the police report. And get an attorney to help you. Recall warrant. That allegedly occurred in June. The warrant was authorized in June. The clerks, somebody picked up on the fact that you were set to be here today and set the arraignment, so you didn't get arrested. And that's a blessing for you. All right, I'm gonna have the court officers take you out and get your court-appointed attorney paperwork. Ms. Geschwint is gonna prepare an order saying you got 21 days to clean this up. It'll be 21 days from the date I sign the order. So it'll be 23 days or so. So all the progress you make will save you grief later. All right, you're free. I have to put some better notes in that case. Mr. George is here on odd circumstances. I had talked to Mr. Stickley, the Chief Public Defender, on our next case, People versus James Edward Jelinek. File number is 241179. Well, phooey, it's not in my queue. I don't get it. This is a case with a long and troubling history. It started in June of 2024. This is a property on Tim Road in Constantine. Mr. Coleman spent a lot of time on this property. We had previous hearings in previous years, multiple violations, multiple infractions. Someone died on this piece of property. I had ordered as a compliance order that no one reside in the property, and he was in clear violation of that in June. Now, Mr. Bush was involved as property counsel. I believe they did complete the sale of this property. And the restitution was to come out of the proceeds of the sale. However, this township was requesting 90 days of jail as a criminal contempt for violating the compliance order. Because there was the potential of a jail sentence in this zoning violation hearing, I asked the public defender if they would have counsel available for Mr. Jelinek. And so Mr. Tim George was appointed. Mr. George, have you ever had any contact with the defendant?
No, Your Honor. My office has reached out to him with no success. I tried reaching out to him with no success. I do note that we do have our mailing that was sent back to us It was to the old address, so I'm assuming that because he's gone, that's why it wasn't delivered and was returned to us, but I've had no contact with him.
Mr. Coolman, did the sale go through?
Yes, Your Honor, it did, and I'm in possession of a check for $7,500 for that criminal contempt portion of it. I have held on to it because it was my understanding that you were considering it, but had not ordered it. But I do have a check in my possession. Dated July 2nd of 2025.
Ms. Gershwant, what's the village's position?
The village's position at this point is there's been a significant disregard for the direct orders of this court, including to appear here in person today. I am still requesting the 90 days jail.
All right, let's talk about that. This hearing with Judge Middleton had just about everything: frustration and a tangle of property issues that somehow managed to stretch out for years. The standout point here was the ongoing saga involving James Edward Jelinek, a name that has been circling back through this court more times than Judge Middleton probably cares to count. From the start, Judge Middleton kept his composure, walking everyone through the long and troubling history of the Tim Road property. He was clear about past compliance orders. No one was supposed to live there, and he pointed out in plain terms that those orders had been ignored. What struck me about Middleton was his patience, even when dealing with repeated violations. He didn't lose his cool, but laid out the facts firmly, which is what you want from a judge: steady, direct, and transparent. As for the defendant, Mr. Jelinek was notably absent. His lack of appearance wasn't just a no-show. It underscored the very issue the township was raising: disregard for court orders. His attorney, Tim George, made it clear he hadn't been able to reach him. Letters bounced back, calls went unanswered, and even though George was present and professional, there's only so much an attorney can do when the client vanishes. Jelinek's absence left the impression of someone either unwilling or unable to face the music, and that silence in the courtroom spoke louder than any testimony might have. On the other side, we had township representatives making their case. Firmly, the request for 90 days in jail wasn't tossed out lightly. They emphasized that this wasn't just a minor zoning issue, but a direct violation of the court's compliance order. That seriousness came across in their tone, even if it felt like they were pushing for the strongest possible consequence. Property counsel, Mr. Coleman, added an interesting wrinkle by producing a check for $7,500, funds tied to the property sale that could address restitution. It was a curious moment: restitution ready to go, but hanging in limbo because Judge Middleton hadn't yet ruled on whether jail time was the right outcome. That kind of back and forth shows how messy these cases can get, especially when they straddle the line between civil and quasi-criminal contempt. The overall atmosphere of the courtroom was measured but tinged with exasperation. Judge Middleton's tone carried that familiar balance of fairness and firmness. He wasn't angry, but you could sense his frustration that this case had circled back yet again, with compliance still in question. There wasn't chaos, but there was a quiet tension. Everyone in the room knew the defendant's absence made things harder and tilted the scales against him. Witnesses and attorneys were steady, no outbursts or theatrics, which made the silence from Jelinek all the more glaring. In the end, what we saw was a judge managing a complicated property dispute with patience, an attorney doing his best without his client's help, and a township pressing for consequences to enforce respect for court orders. It wasn't dramatic in the Hollywood sense, but it was a very real look at how courts deal with non-compliance, missed hearings, and lingering disputes that refuse to go quietly. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.